In the heart of Italy, Benedict of Nursia was born into a noble family, but his soul was already bound to a different destiny. He renounced the luxuries of the world and withdrew into the solitude of a cave, seeking God, unaware that he would also encounter the enemy. Far from finding peace, Benedict faced visions, temptations, and demonic attacks. His holiness was so powerful that it began to draw those seeking guidance, and also those who feared his strength. It is said they tried to poison him, but when he made the sign of the cross, the cup shattered. The evil could not touch him. From that moment on, his life was marked by miracles, supernatural battles, and a wisdom that transformed monastic life forever. Saint Benedict was not just a monk, he was a spiritual warrior, an exorcist whose fight against darkness made him a legend. Year 480. In Nursia, a mountainous region of Italy, Benedict was born, son of a noble family destined by the world's standards for comfort, power, and prestige. But young Benedict did not follow the voice of the world. He listened to a deeper one that called him far from everything he knew. From a young age, he felt the emptiness of a meaningless material life. That's when he left it all behind. No wealth, no comforts, only his faith as shelter and silence as his companion. He withdrew into a cave in Subiaco, where he would spend years immersed in prayer, fasting, and a constant internal struggle. Because solitude not only reveals God, it also reveals the enemy. In that darkness, Benedict was not only seeking the Creator, he was also facing his own demons. And not all of them were metaphorical. Shadows, whispers, temptations that tried to break his spirit. But each time he fell, he rose stronger. His soul was being forged like iron, and the dark spirits began to fear him. Without knowing it, in that cave, a monk was not just being formed, a warrior of light was being forged. The rumor spread like wildfire across the fields and villages. A man was living apart from the world, and in his solitude, he radiated a holiness that drew everyone to him. Pilgrims, peasants, nobles, and the curious began to seek out the hermit of Subiaco. They did not find a fiery preacher or a delusional mystic. They found a man in silence, steady, serene, whose very presence conveyed peace, but also a mysterious power. Many began to follow him. They wanted to learn from him. They wanted to live like him. Benedict was not seeking disciples, but neither did he turn them away. It was time to leave the cave and begin to build. He founded 12 monasteries, each with its own group of monks, but with growth came challenges. Not everyone was ready for Benedict's strict discipline, constant prayer, fasting, silence, obedience. Some considered him too severe, and in the darkness of their hearts, betrayal was born. Legend says that one of his own monks, unable to endure the harshness of his guidance, tried to kill him. He poisoned his cup. Benedict, unsuspecting, took the vessel in his hands. But when he made the sign of the cross, the unthinkable happened. The cup shattered. No cursed substance could touch him. It was proof that his soul was protected by higher forces. The hermit was no longer just a man. He was becoming a legend. As Benedict's light grew, so did the darkness that surrounded him. He faced not only the envy of men, but the hatred of entities not of this world. Demons, unclean spirits, presences that tried to sabotage his work from the shadows. The attacks were relentless. Nightly apparitions, voices whispering blasphemies, temptations crafted to break his will. But Benedict did not waver. Instead of fleeing, he raised the cross. Where others trembled, he prayed. Where others fell, he stood firm. He witnessed possessions, objects moving on their own, monks terrified by invisible presences, and it was then that his hidden power emerged, the power to cast out evil. Benedict not only guided his followers in spiritual life, he was also an exorcist. His mere presence disturbed demons. His prayer, spoken with absolute faith, was like fire upon them. It is said that just making the sign of the cross was enough to free the possessed. Once, a monk was tormented by impure and violent thoughts. Benedict looked at him, spoke a few words, and the evil spirit left with a scream that shook the monastery. The cross became his weapon, not just any cross, but one he himself consecrated with special prayers. That cross would become, centuries later, a symbol of protection against the forces of evil, the cross of Saint Benedict. While others fought with fear, Benedict fought with faith, and the darkness, for the first time in a long time, was afraid. Saint Benedict did not seek fame, but his life marked a turning point in the spiritual history of the world. With the creation of his famous Rule of Saint Benedict, he shaped monastic life around humility, obedience, and silence. A guide that, even today, more than 15 centuries later, remains the foundation of many religious communities. But his legacy didn't end with his teachings. It took form in an object as small as it is powerful, the Medal of Saint Benedict. It's not a decorative medal, it's a shield, a symbol of spiritual warfare. On one side, Saint Benedict is depicted holding the cross and the Book of the Rule, with a serpent, evil, defeated at his feet. On the other, an enigmatic set of letters, Crux Sancti Patris Benedicti, the cross of the Holy Father Benedict. Surrounding the cross, "Begone, Satan, do not suggest to me thy vanities. Evil is the cup thou offerest, drink thy poison yourself." These are words that, according to tradition, hold the power to repel demons, break curses, and protect the bearer from dark influences. The medal has been used for centuries by exorcists, monks, believers, and pilgrims. And it is said that when worn with faith, one does not walk alone, but under the shadow of the saint, who faced evil without fear. Saint Benedict died around the year 547 after receiving the Eucharist and with his arms raised to heaven. That day, heaven gained one of its most powerful warriors. Since then, every July 11th marks the celebration of his life and legacy, honoring him as the patron of Europe, of monks, and protector against evil and temptation. His influence did not fade with death. On the contrary, his light spread. Today, his cross, his medal, and his example continue to be beacons of protection for those who face darkness. Because where there is faith, evil cannot prevail.